So one of the most common question that we get on our Monday night live show, quite interestingly, are from people comparing between the Mercedes-AMG C43 versus the BMW M340i. And the popularity of this question suggests that this is a segment that resonates well with a lot of buyers. And you can see there are plenty of compelling reasons to shop in that segment if you are an affluent buyer. You see, because one, the 3-litre engine size with its annual road tax bill of 2,100 ringgit, yes, it's a bit expensive for a vast majority of the population, but for the affluent crowd, 2,100 ringgit is just about an acceptable budget annually. Then the other thing is that the C43 and the M340i are both playing in the 350 to 400 horsepower range, and in all honesty, that is the kind of outputs that are faster than fast enough for your day-to-day driving. Because think about it, the kind of cars that you can smoke with 350 horsepower, cars like a BMW 330i, your Mercedes C300, even a Porsche Boxster or Cayman, the low-spec ones, don't stand a chance against you in an open highway. But here's the thing, the M340i and the Mercedes-AMG C43 are still both well above 200,000 into the 300,000 ringgit price range. Or you can consider this, the Audi S5 or the S4 if you prefer. Either way, Audi was the OG in this segment that led us today to have the M340i and the C43. You see, in Audi's lineup, they have your A4, A5, the regular 2-litre turbo versions. Then right at the top of the range, you have the RS4 and the RS5, and that competes against the M3s and the C63s. Then right in the mid-tier, in between the regular models and the range-topping RS models, you have this, the S4 and the S5, that offers you, well, bigger performance than the regular models, but not quite up to the level of the performance flagships. And because Audi was there first, well, there simply are older examples of the S4 and the S5 that offer you the same kind of performance you would get in an M340i or a C43, but at half the money. Like this S5 Sportback that I'm driving here, this is a full facelift model, still just about eligible for loan, and you can have it on your driveway for less than 140,000 ringgit, which is less than half of what it would cost you to buy a C43 or the M340i.
This video is brought to you by EvoClub Car Wash. Our motto is service and solutions. You can bring your car to us for deep cleaning, shining, full-on restoration, or just a regular wash. Whatever it is you need help sorting out on your car, we are more than happy to assist. To get in touch with us, drop us a line on Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp us on the number on your screen now.
Okay, so what you are seeing here, this is the B8 version of the S5, and it is the facelift, or more popularly known as the B8.5. Now, as we all know, under the skin, the A4 and A5 model families, they are mechanically identical. And in this Sportback body style, what you're getting at essentially is a lowered A4 with the front end of the A5, the added gaya of frameless doors, and also a bigger opening boot aperture. So let's take a closer look, a good walk around of this car. We will start with the front end. Now, design wise, I like the shape of the pre-facelift headlights better, but the segmented LEDs of the pre-facelift models are really looking a bit dated today, whereas here in the facelift models, the single strip LED design gives a bit more of a contemporary look to the car. Now this car was of course launched before a time where LED headlights were a thing, so what you have here are instead xenons with hidden washers inside. Now this design that you're seeing here, this is what a lot of Audi enthusiasts will tell you is the peak of modern Audi design. This was the generation of Audis that were designed by Walter de Silva, and even today this look continues to influence the present day modern Audi lineup. And Audi, if you remember at that time, they pioneered this large grille look. They made it work. And if you see today, the likes of BMW, of Lexus, every other manufacturer, their take off the big grille design look, well, a bit of a hit and miss, but Audi here in the B8 generation, they absolutely nailed it. And the magic is this: even though this grille practically dominates the fascia, it does not look overdone. It doesn't look too much in your face. It still managed to project elegance. It still managed to exude timelessness, and that really is a design triumph. Now this fastback body style, or sportback body style as Audi calls it, well, when they first introduced it, Audi was unique in the segment. Mercedes looked at this and didn't bother to respond, but BMW looked at it and said, wow, this seems like a pretty good thing. And they replied with not one, but two models, namely the 3 Series Gran Turismo as well as the 4 Series Gran Coupe, to take on the Audi Sportback. One unique styling cue that differentiates the S model is this satin chrome side mirrors, and down here you get these 5 double spoke alloy wheels. And if you look closer, where this model is concerned, you see this rather distinctive flower-shaped brakes. Well, that is because this example here has been upgraded with brakes from the RS5. The regular S5 of course gets higher performance brakes than the A5, but this RS brakes, these are original 8-pot Brembos, and with this flower-like pattern to give it that more distinctive look. Audi would claim that it gives you better cooling line and all that, but I suspect that really is a more cosmetic thing to differentiate itself from the competition. We go and quickly inspect the rear. Now in comparison, the rear wheels here, you get these pretty standard looking discs, but still quite sizable. Now here at the back, the A5 S5 Sportback retains the family look of Audi's from this era. Once again, a very nicely executed design, not going overboard, still has that timeless look, and it still looks effortlessly beautiful even today. Now a unique styling cue of the S5 that differentiates it from the regular A5, you can see it here at the lower edges of the bumper, where you have this silver painted diffuser with quad exhaust. The interesting thing is this: the S models give you quad exhaust standard from the factory, whereas the RS models gives you one exhaust at each side. Now from a practicality standpoint, the S5 gives you a large opening tailgate. Now this unit here came from the factory with a manual tailgate, but the owner, well, installed a powered tailgate, and it's a very neatly done installation too, because he did get it with this very factory looking button. And well, as you can see, this tailgate is full. Now numbers wise, in terms of luggage capacity, even though the Sportback here gives you the exact same luggage space as the A4 sedan, which is 480 liters, you get the benefit of added practicality with this larger opening tailgate. And in any market, regardless of what options you choose, split folding seats would be standard here in the Sportback, whereas in a regular A4 sedan, it really depends on which boxes did the first owner check. Now, let's go and check out the folding mechanism. So you can see, all right, as the seats fold down, you get a seamless loading floor. It's slanted, but it's a nicely joined loading floor. So it is very conducive if you need to load heavy objects. This car comes with a pretty standard all black interior. So, well, very plain, but quality wise, very, very nice. And you can see the door card here, you get this soft touch plastics at the top, nice brushed metal finish trim piece here, satin chrome door openers, and here you can see there's a blank button, which could be another door lock and unlock button available as a cost option overseas. Now, from the way this panel is finished, you know that the first owner of this car in the UK did not spec this with the highest grade sound system. And here you can see the way the door card is structured. Well, this is an angled bottle holder, so you can slide a 1.5 litre bottle here at an angle. And over here behind, you still have space to drop some more small items. But now you see here, right, the material mix used in this construction. Here, this is soft plastic. This is soft, but inside here, it's a hard grade and a scratchy type of plastic. So that kind of surprised me a little. I would have expected that the bottom here would be rubberized so that things don't slide about, but a very, very minor complaint. Now, the shape of this door handle is grabbing and you try to twist it. That is when the construction of Audi really shines through. You see, because Mercedes has a similar door handle design for the A-Class, but when you pull and twist the door handle of the Mercedes A-Class versus the one here, absolutely no contest. The one in the Mercedes creaks and twists. This one, no. Solid. Absolute solid. Now, we look at the rear seats. Okay, let me be seated in here. I'm 170 centimeters tall. So right now my hair is touching the roof. I've got a good lean angle, but I do need to stretch my legs a bit further forward in order to enjoy some thigh support. And also the seat cushion does not go all the way to the back of my calves. Now, if let's say I sit in the more upright position, my thighs kind of, there's a gap underneath. Now, I suspect it is because of this sloping roofline that Audi had to consciously put the seats a bit lower, and that kind of compromised the thigh support. But overall, the shape of these seats are still pretty good. The materials here, this, remember, is a 10-year-old car, and the leather still feels lovely and soft to the touch. And you would notice here the ISOFIX mounts, they are red in color. Why? Because this unit came out from the factory in red color and was repainted black along the way by one of its previous owners. And you can also see from the way this is worn and also the marks here, you can tell that the current owner is a responsible parent who regularly straps his or her child with ISOFIX seats. Yeah, so you can see there's some scratches here at the ISOFIX mounts, but these are not major deal breakers, right? So the armrests, okay, pull this down. Wow, this is solid, man. So the armrest, firstly, you open this, there's this nice compartment here. This is big enough for mobile phones for 4 people. There's a retractable cup holder here, which the mechanism still feels absolutely rock solid. And as we know, the seats have split folding facility, but not only that, you get this as well. This is a popular feature in Europe because it allows them to carry their skiing equipment whilst also still maintaining seating capacity for 4 people. Here you can see the front seats, fixed headrests, but you get these netted pockets. Rear blowers, no climate control, probably not, I don't think it's included in this area. You got a 12-volt socket here and also an ashtray here. And here as well, there's a nifty, useful little hanger for you to hang your coat. So let's check out the front. So the front door, as you can see, you also have this slot where you can drop your drinks bottle at this angle. And this one, as I showed you with the rear door, this whole outside skin is a relatively soft plastic, but inside this one is hard, but under here this is rubberized. So this suggests to me that the rubber lining at the rear door actually probably has just come off because of the car's age. Now there's a door lock and unlock button here on the driver's side, but not on the passenger side. To start the engine, this car has no keyless entry. So what you do, press the key into the slot and it starts. Now I like this execution of a non-keyless entry setup much better than what I experienced earlier in the BMW E84 X1. We have a similar setup in a few cars of that era. The strength of this setup is that when you off your engine, you press the key fob and you pull it out. Whereas in setups where the key goes into a slot and you have to press a separate button, there's a high chance you will leave your key fob in the car after you press the off button. Check out the instrument cluster. Now, one small complaint for this UK spec car, it is not so easy to read the kilometers per hour speed reading because of the way the numbers are stacked. I would have much preferred it if the kilometers per hour scale is perhaps moved closer to the middle in a different circle compared to the miles per hour reading. But that's a relatively small complaint because the instruments otherwise great clarity. Now I switch on the lights so you can see fuel gauge, speedometer, and then another cluster here is the tachometer and the temperature gauge. Here is the center trip computer display. This era, it's still quite a rudimentary setup, but it has color. And there's a 2-mode selection here, so you can press this mode to cycle between different screens. I see only 3 different screens, right? Telephone, DVD, infotainment, and trip computer. That's it. So you use this to scroll through the menus. Okay, and here there's a navigation button, but this car actually does not come with navigation. Voice command button here. Now this is very first gen rudimentary voice command. Let me demonstrate this to you. I press this, there's a list of commands here. Let's try FM 89.9.
The artist is not available. Please enter the artist.
Cancel.
Cancel.
Well, first gen voice command. So here's the infotainment system. This is the standard infotainment system, the Audi MMI. We have a rotary knob here, shortcut buttons. All right, so how this works is this. You see these corners here. Let's say, for example, here you see handbook. You press this button here to access the handbook. Let me give you a better example. So let's say here, for example, here in the radio, right? So you can see here there's memory, waveband, settings, functions. So let's say I want to choose settings. All I do is I go to this corner here, I press, and I'm in the settings screen. If I want to go to the memory screen, I press this one. See, because memory at the top left, so I press this top left. There's also shortcut keys that allows you to directly access navigation, telephone, car, menu, back, radio, media. So as I press this, the light illuminates to show me which mode I'm in. Here, this rotary knob, you can rotate, okay? You can press it down to click. And there's also this pad right here at the top where you can use it to move up and down, left and right. But as of now, I have yet to find a command that responds to the up, down, left, right movement here. Climate control here, okay, dual zone climate control. And what I like about this car, or Audi construction in general, is how all the switches still exude the kind of tactile feel like it is new, right? Audis of this generation were renowned for their build quality, and here in this example, we have a clear demonstration that this is a build quality that stands the test of time. So here there's this sliding panel which reveals the ashtray as well as the cigarette lighter. So here, two molded cup holders with this retractable slots to push your cup in if needed, and here's a slot that is nicely sized for you to drop your phone inside. Here is also the armrest where you've got a decently sized storage compartment as well. So overall, this cabin, now the all black color scheme may not say much, but being inside here, the quality that I see here in this car is just truly amazing. Because when you put into context that this is a 10-year-old car, the way the plastics show hardly any signs of melting. You have some odd scratches here and there due to wear and tear, but there are no melting plastics. There are no creaks whatsoever. The construction of it is just rock solid. And you can see that this cabin really was built with a no expense spared kind of approach, where they really put the effort in to ensure that everything just fits together solidly. So as mentioned earlier, this S5 Sportback is powered by Audi's 3-liter supercharged V6. This particular example has been fiddled by DNA tuning and it pushes up almost 400 horsepower. But you see, in comparison with a lot of the turbocharged engines that you see from the other Germans, the supercharged engine offers you a totally different driving experience because the response is instantaneous. You press it, it immediately delivers the acceleration, and my God, the way it pulls, it's relentless. I've been driving this car around for the last 2 or 3 days, and the kind of speeds, the way it accelerates, it's more than what you would expect after paying 130,000, 140,000 ringgit. This is a car that really will leave a lot of other rides, fancier looking cars out there smelling your smoke. But there is a trade-off. In exchange for that immediacy in the response, you will have to deal with slightly higher fuel consumption compared to a turbocharged engine of equivalent outputs, and that is the nature of supercharged engines. Why? You see, because turbochargers are driven by flow of the exhaust gas, and that literally is free energy, and there is no boost when you are sitting idling at the traffic lights. The supercharger, on the other hand, is driven directly by the engine's power. As such, it is boosting all the time, even when you're sitting at the traffic light. So that is why, yes, your power, your response, the boost is immediate, but it is boosting all the time. And to drive that boost, well, you need energy, you need power from the engine, and that is where the extra fuel is burned. Right now, I am reading an average fuel consumption of 5.4 kilometers per liter. I can tekan a BMW N55 or B58 with the same kind of enthusiasm. I would still easily get numbers like 8 or 9 kilometers per liter. So this engine can be quite thirsty if you really make full use of its acceleration potential, let me put it that way. Now, on to the argument about its handling. And this is where there's that argument about Audis being famous for its understeer and all that. And this is probably true when you're talking about the older ones, the B7 generation Audis, where the entire engine is hanging out in front of the forward axle. So either way you put it, when you charge into a corner, You are charging with weight on your nose, and that weight has inertia and it affects your turning. So with this S5, within the conditions that I've driven this car thus far, well, that really has not proven to be a hindrance. It really only comes to play if you go to Genting Highlands, you charge down the thing. That's when you will feel that the extra weight on the nose is really fighting your steering inputs. But in day-to-day driving, no. In fact, most of the time, what you feel is the sense of security of the Quattro all-wheel drive system really keeping you in line, giving you that steady and secure feeling as you barrel down the highways, or when you take that fast corner like this. You see, in that context, I did not feel any sort of understeer because it is well within the limits of the system's capabilities. You will not exceed the limits of this system's capabilities in your day-to-day driving. Having driven Bobby's S4 a number of years back and comparing to this S5 here, the understeer effect really does feel less. It does feel a bit more dialed down. It does feel a bit more tuned out. So perhaps Audi did a bit more work on the suspension geometry of this car to further neutralize the understeer. Now, there definitely is understeer at the limit for this car, because for suspension tuning, for handling tuning, most car makers will want to default to understeer because that is in a way the safer setting, because the way to counter understeer is to ease off your accelerator pedal and to slow the car down. That way you allow the front wheels to bite and you can turn it. But in contrast, when you're talking about oversteer, you deal with oversteer by stepping on the throttle. You have to do things that you counter your steering inputs. And that is where it can be a little daunting for beginner drivers. But oh my god, the way this car accelerates, it's addictive, man. This maybe it's a bit of the DNA tuning at work, but the way this car accelerates, oh, now I know why Bobby says the BMW N55 has nothing on this engine in terms of sheer ferocious speed, because this thing, it pulls like a fucking train. It just pulls. So if you compare the driving experience of an Audi versus a BMW, the analogy I always like to use is this. Audi gives you sheer grip. So it means that when you throw an Audi around a corner, the Audi will use all its might to just cling on and pull you around the bend. A BMW, on the other hand, it's a bit more playful because of its rear-wheel drive chassis, so it dances with you a bit. It sort of flows more around the corners, whereas an Audi just pulls you through with almost like sheer force of will. Now, there is no saying which one approach is superior to the other, but it really is a matter of preference. So with a BMW, what you get is a bit more of a playful nature to its chassis, whereas with an Audi, what you are given is absolute, no compromise security in the handling. Okay, so this example of the S5 here is available for sale, and it is the last year in which you can get a loan from the bank for this car. And of course, you can contact the EvoClub Car Wash team should you be interested to arrange for a viewing or to inquire more about this car. But whether or not this specific unit interests you, the S5 is really a good option to consider if you want Mercedes-AMG C43 or BMW M340i performance, but you're not quite at that 200,000 to that 300,000 ringgit budget yet. Well, consider this. The S5 here is the OG of that segment, and it is available for half the price. So if you found today's video useful, give it a like, and if you have not done so, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon so that you will be informed the next time I upload a new video, whether it is a car review or a new installment of my car care tips series. And please, of course, follow all of Horizon's social media channels, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. You can also contact the EvoClub Car Wash team to find out our latest offers and promos, or if you just need some advice on your car care needs. So until my next video, take care, stay safe, and I will see you soon.